Episode of Networking at Noon. Tiffanie Kellog, your hostess here, and we have a different kind of guest. Since we've launched the show, I've had clients of ours, people that participate in the Referrals for Life community, other speakers, other Asentiv facilitators. Today, though, it's a little blast for the past for me, as we have Coach Bart Lundy, who is from Queen's University. Thanks so much for being with us, Coach.
Thanks, Tiffany. I appreciate you having me. Excited to be here.
And I say blast from the past. So it was 1997, I think, when I enrolled and started going to Queen's University. How long had you been coaching there as the assistant coach then?
Wow. So I guess that was probably my third year. Was that the year before I became the head coach? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was my third year. I was 3 years as an assistant, and then became the head coach the next year. I was 25.
Were you expecting to become the head coach at 25?
No, but my hair was already going back on defense, so they had no idea how old I was.
What was your thought when you took on, like, as 25, let me take on a head coaching role at a D2 school that was doing, if I remember correctly from my freshman year at least, I mean, Queens did well the whole time I was there.
Yeah, absolutely. We had made the regional final the year before. For the basketball junkies that are listening, we lost to Ben Wallace, who's a NBA Hall of Famer who played at Virginia Union in the regional finals. So I worked for Coach Dale Lair, and he moved on, and he, in essence, got me the job. So, it was exciting. I had no idea what I was doing then, just worked hard and held on for dear life. Got some good players like Mr. Robert Kellogg, and good players always help you get through.
Yeah. Yeah, and y'all actually made it, I think my senior year, you made it to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, first time in school history. Yeah, Bakersfield, California. Yeah.
And for those of you watching, I remember the story because my in-laws drove from Florida to Bakersfield, California to watch the game, but they did not make it in time for the game.
That is still infamous at Queens.
That's a long trip from Florida.
They are still some of the finest, maybe the finest parents that we've ever had in the program. Great people. Yeah. I miss the strawberries. They still occasionally will come up with strawberries, but yeah, they did miss the game in Bakersfield, California. I'm sure it was a great drive, though.
Oh, I remember hearing the stories of Angie was like in the back of the vehicle making sandwiches because they couldn't stop, so they were like making sandwiches as they were going. And you stayed at Queens for a few more years, and then you headed off where?
I went to High Point University for 6 years, and then Marquette University in Milwaukee for 3, University of North Texas for 1, and then Queens built the beautiful facility that I'm sitting in now, and it was kind of like coming home, and came back to Queens full circle. So I've been back 8 years, and I have a unique situation in college basketball. I'm a part of the past here, the present, hopefully the future. And I know all the alumni and have security, and it's a great place to be. We're in Uptown Charlotte, beautiful campus. You know all this, but let's walk Queens a little bit. So
oh my gosh! Like when I came back for I saw the new facility. Like, so Queens old facility. My high school gym was like 2 or 3 times better than the Queens gym that they used to play in the oven. Yes.
Yeah. And it was hot, no air conditioning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the gym probably put, a couple hundred people?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got a lot more than that in. One game, I thought I was going to get a technical because somebody said something from the bench, and I realized we didn't have bleachers behind one side. And the fans had somehow gotten behind our bench and were yelling at the officials, and they thought it was our bench.
Oh my gosh.
But that gym was good to us. We won a lot of games in that gym.
Yeah.
So
the oven, no AC, food. Yeah. The new facility, wow, is gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I could see why it'd be enticing to come back.
Yeah. And it was coming home. I'd seen all the I'd seen the what's the Wizard of Oz. I'd pulled back the.
There's no place like home.
Yeah. So it's nice to be back.
Cool.
I love Queens.
So it was interesting because you wrote a blog a couple of years ago, and I'll throw the link to the blog up. And I saw it several years ago, and it recently came back up in my feed or something because I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. And it's an interesting conversation because you talk about the language of your basketball program. And when I first read this, again, I don't know if I saw what year it was out, but I want to say it had to be at least 5 years ago. I was thinking about in the entrepreneurial world that we live in, our goal is to get referrals from people in our network, and we really need to give them the language of how to do that. So I'll talk a teeny bit more about what that looks like afterwards, but I thought I'd turn it over to Coach to tell us a little bit about, his ideal and his thoughts on this concept of getting the language of your basketball program.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It goes across all businesses. When I went to Marquette, I was an assistant coach then, and I worked for a guy named Buzz Williams, who's now the head coach at Texas A&M. And we had great teams. We had Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, fans would know, players fans would know. But one of the things that Buzz was amazing with was the organization of the program. And I think I always knew how important language was. But with Buzz, it was important that we document the language. So we actually called it the words we use. So we had a dictionary called the words we use, and we wrote it down, and it was valuable in a few different areas, not only selling the program, but everyone that came into the program learned how we talk about things. So in basketball, you might have a ball screen, and across all forms of basketball, all teams, they guard those ball screens in different ways. So there's 1,000 ways to call different aspects of any business. But we wanted everybody to speak the same language. So it really became, we became a little fanatical about it. So we documented it, and we had a dictionary. And I think I wrote that blog. I had moved on to North Texas, and we were building the program first year there. And it was very prevalent in my mind that we established the words that we use in the language of our program. And so when I think it was Basketball HQ asked me to write a blog for them, that was what came to mind. And but I can see for sure how it would go across any business, because as you go out and you sell, like when I sell our program, and when my assistants go and sell the program, we are using the same language, the same verbiage, and how we describe what we do day to day, which is really important because when they have a conversation as an assistant coach, and then all of a sudden the parents are sitting in my office, and now the situation is more serious and the deal is about to be made. If what is being explained from my office is different than what my assistant has done on the phone, then that's probably not a deal that's going to be made. But when they hear, the best thing I can hear is, oh yeah, Coach Leonard, Coach Cooper, whichever assistant was talking to us, that's exactly how they described everything. So the importance of having the language documented and have everybody on the same page is huge. Not only in selling it, but when our players come in as freshmen, the upperclassmen understand, like, they've got to learn the words that we use, and we make it a cornerstone of our program.
Yeah, I think it makes it easier if we know what's going on. I remember, I think when I came back to Queens a couple of years ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're still running fist and double fist. I'm like, I don't know if the plays are still the same.
Yeah.
But I was like,
those are defensive calls. Yeah. Double fist. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody pretty much knows the defense, so no reason to change it. We're gonna guard you and make life miserable. So fist. Yeah.
Well, I think when it comes to the business world, I remember it was probably 2006. I was doing Asentiv's Ignite Your Business for the very first time, and I'm like working on my marketing, And Rob had come to work with me in the promotional products business then. And like a couple months later, I heard him saying something and I'm like, that is not how we say that anymore, dear. I'm like, we've kind of changed our positioning. And I'm like, man, if I'm not communicating with my business partner and my spouse, what the changes is, how hard is it for our referral sources, for the people? I mean, if we want the people on our team, because I like to talk about having your referral team. And I talk about your top 12. Oh, look, there's a kind of basketball tie in there.
Yeah.
It's like your team. And usually you have your best 5 or 6, your 5 or your strong guy off the bench. But if they don't know the language, how are they supposed to be referring us? And, if they say something that they're not supposed to, and you call up and say, hey, you talk to my referral source, Susie, and what she said isn't what you said, then the deal is not likely to close.
Yeah. And for us, at least, and for me, putting that on paper is huge. It's nice to say, okay, we've got our language, but we want to have, and I think for many businesses that's a given, but for a lot of businesses it's not. It's just kind of happens over time, and you develop a lingo, and but to write those things down and to have have it ingrained in your culture is really important, especially when you're moving forward with new people or new referrals, whatever your business might be.
Yeah. And I think a lot of my clients, start out small. And when you're 1 or 2, it's a little bit easier. When you get to 40 or 50 or 100, then you've got to have it. Like we actually talk about like having your referral partner training manual. Like what are the things that they so this is our version of a playbook or a dictionary. What are the things that they need to know?
Right.
To me, if we can make it easier on the people on our team, it makes life easier, because if they know, okay, these are the kind of screens that I need to do, it makes it much easier than trying to figure out, which of the 1,000 ways it's referred to do we want today?
Right. And if you come to a game and you sat behind our bench, you'd hear similar things probably in your office. You'd hear, okay, we're in blue, we're going to change to green, we're going to reject the screen. Whatever it is. And if you're not in our organization, you're probably not going to understand what that means. But if you're sitting on that bench and you're a freshman in your first game, you better know what it means, or you're not going to be in the game very long. You're going to be out of the top 6. So it's really important.
Gotcha. So anything else that you'd like to add on this conversation?
I don't know, as, folks go through their businesses, I think athletics has a lot of lessons to teach us. And, I was thinking I wasn't sure where this conversation would go, and I didn't know if it would just be about the lingo, but I was thinking about marketing, and, we have a lot of people that come through here because we are in Uptown Charlotte, in a really nice place. And, I think one of the things that's helped me along in my career, and it's a simple thing, is that I write notes. If I meet someone for the first time and it's a good meeting, it's positive, I write them a note. I just had a new vice president ask for a meeting, one-on-one meeting, and she had just come into Queens, and I was a little nervous. I was like, wow, I'm already in trouble. She's out here. But she said I was the only one on campus that wrote her a welcome note. And she has to meet with all the people on campus, but I was first on that list because I wrote a note. And I think sometimes old school, just writing a note, can help those communication in those relationships. Maybe you call them referrals, but they can help along the way. I referenced Jay Billis before we got on, and he just had a camp here, and part of the camp is having coaches come in, and they're developing coaches. So they bring in speakers, and they're kind of what you're doing with this podcast, so just getting people better. And I think you got to get better all the time. But I got back from vacation, and I probably had, 6 or 8 letters from different coaches. And the ones that write a letter, I'm not holding anything against the ones that didn't, but the ones that write the letter, to me, those are guys that I would, if I had a position open, I'd want to hire. So little old school things. I think you can never go wrong, especially in the era of Zoom.
I am actually okay, so I'm kind of a nerd Doctor Who fan, so this is my Doctor Who lunchbox, but I keep it on my desk, and inside I've got my stamps and my return labels and cards for just about any kind of occasion that you can think of. These are my happy birthday cards. I'm so silly. It's like happy birthday. And so, yeah, I think those notes are so powerful. And I mean, how many people are doing them nowadays?
Not many.
Not many. I got one because I have a thing with socks. So somebody sent me, they didn't have a sock card, but they wrote, a handwritten note and they drew the sock on it. Cool. I've got like 400 socks as part of my brand. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
But I mean, it stands out, and it's been on my desk for a week, whereas everything else is off, except for the note that my husband just gave me that says, parents said hello to Coach Lundy. He came in here. I guess they heard us on the call. I'm sure Jackie will be watching this on Facebook. She loves to be on Facebook. So I'm sure she'll say hi there.
Yeah. Tell them I said hello, and they're awesome. They're the best.
Yes, they are. So my last question I have for you is, what's your favorite brew?
I'm glad you warned me about this. I think I like all brews. I'm coffee in the morning and in the afternoon. Prepping. I have 200 kids in the gym with basketball camp, so got that going. Came up in time to drink some coffee before I got on this call, and then I love a cold brew at night, and pretty much anything that's brewed. I'm good. So I'm an all around brew, if that's acceptable.
That works. I kind of agree with you, except I don't do coffee. I've never picked up that habit. So I'll just do the rest.
We all have our burdens. That's my
So how's the team looking for 2021, 2022 season? And if people are looking to learn a little bit more about Queen's University, where can they do that?
Well, www.queens.edu. You can Google it. It is the best kept university secret in the United States, in my opinion. Our team is in maybe the best place it's ever been. We have an unbelievable culture. I'm always redefining what culture means, and to me, culture means very simply the people who are in your program, who are in your organization. And I think we have the best culture that we've ever had. And we've been very successful. Before the pandemic, we were 30 wins each of the previous 3 years, and the only other of, I think, 1,500 NCAA teams at all levels, only Gonzaga had done that. So we have been pretty successful, and I think we have our best team. We could maybe win a national championship if the coaches don't screw it up and get the language wrong. I love our guys.
That would be really exciting to see Queens take it to a national championship. I know for those of you that are watching, most of you know Rob. I don't know if Rob's he was around a minute ago. I don't know if he was going to pop his head on and say hi or not. Mr. Kellogg, he could have his headphones on, so who knows. But I know when Rob was at Queens, I think it was his senior year, they went to the Elite Eight. It'd be cool to see them take it all the way.
Yeah, I was just, I don't know, maybe a couple of days ago, I was looking at the all-time records, and Rob is one of the all-time leading field goal percentage shooters in Queens basketball history. So
I think
thump his chest a little bit there.
I kind of joke with him sometimes because I think you shot better from the field goal percentage than the free throw percentage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm like, and he also, I know I think he was like a 59% or something. Really amazing.
Yeah.
I know he was tied for block shots.
Yeah, he's up there in block shots too. I should have known that as well. Yeah. And there's been some crazy good shot blockers here. So he was elite.
Yeah, he was good. I always
joke, I'm very proud of you guys.
I'm like, hey, Rob played basketball, and I kind of managed the men's basketball team for a year.
You did. Yeah, you did.
I went to a school that was like all girls and rarely any guys, and I still managed to come out with a husband. That wasn't the plan, but it did work out that way.
You were the head coach sometimes, I think. Yeah.
Well,
Good.
thank you. Thank you so very much for being here. It's been an honor to get to spend a little bit of time with you. We'll be out on Facebook, and then we'll be back with the replay on YouTube a couple weeks after. And we want to say thank you so much for being here with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffanie. Tell
Thank
everybody
you.
I said hello.
Yes.
Okay. Bye.
Happy networking, y'all.
Yeah.